Hello everybody, welcome back to Stargirl Society, the podcast that inspires you to reclaim your power and start living the life of your dreams. I'm your host, Phoebe Goldsmith, and in today's episode, we are having a long overdue girl talk. Unfortunately for me, unfortunately for you, if there's something that needs to be said, I will say it. We're going to get so real and raw today, but I thought it was about time. We're going to talk intimacy, losing your V card, periods, body hair, feminine hygiene, birth control and the pill. I'm going to share my tips and my experiences in the hopes that it helps a diva or two out there. If you do like today's episode, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. You can follow our Apple Podcast or Spotify if you're on there. Head over to Instagram and follow at Stargirl Society Pod or my TikTok at Phoebe Goldsmith for more content like this. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, we're going to start with sex. I'm not actually sure if I can say that on YouTube. Intimacy, shall we say. First thing I want to talk about is when the right time to lose your V card is. My simple answer to this is if you are questioning whether you are ready, you are not ready. As someone who was definitely ready and who was really glad that I waited until I was, I can absolutely assure you that you will know. You'll just know. Like, it's almost like you just wake up one day and you just know, and you're just super confident in that. No one could change your mind. Like, you know for a fact that you are ready. So what I will say is if you are questioning or if you're like, am I ready, am I not? I would maybe avoid doing it just so you don't have any regrets. I think whilst we're on this topic, it's really important to talk about feeling behind in intimacy. It is super normal to feel left out, feel behind when it feels like every other person in your friendship group has lost their V card and you are the only one that hasn't. That was me. There's no rush. Like, there is seriously no rush to do anything. I was lucky because I went to an all-girls school. So like, I don't know, boys in general were like not really on my mind until I went to sixth form. Like, there was still people I knew that were like super young doing that kind of stuff, which looking back, like we were just so young, but each to their own. But for me personally, like I was a late bloomer in so many ways. And I absolutely promise that the time it happens doesn't affect anything. I know people my age, I'm nearly 24, who still haven't done really much at all. You know what? It doesn't matter. Like, it seriously does not matter. I just want anyone who's watching to know that there is absolutely no rush and that you should absolutely take as much time as you want when you're considering losing it. Also, actually, let's just reframe for a second. You're not losing anything. I actually saw, you know, the famous rugby player, Ilona, she has a podcast with her sisters. As one of them was like, no, you didn't lose anything. It's like your debut, you're not losing shit. And I love that. So let's just correct that for a second. I also wanted to talk about like who to be intimate with. My answer, whoever you want. In my opinion, if you are not hurting anybody or yourself with who you are sleeping with or the volume of people that you're sleeping with, then you can't be slut shamed in my mind. If you're knowingly home wrecking, on the other hand, if you're breaking girl code, if your endeavors are hurting you mentally, emotionally, physically, then maybe we should reevaluate. But as long as you're happy, I genuinely don't see any problem with what you're doing. And if it's safe for you, you know? Something I genuinely cannot bear is those girls on TikTok that are like boasting about the fact that they're not ran through. Ugh! Right? Pick me across your forehead. You may as well be down on your hands and knees begging for male validation when you say that. When some girl is like, I'm not ran through, I'm sorry, but when you're putting another woman down or other women down just to look more desirable to men, you're losing. Sorry, like you're a loser. I think because some men have this weird thing of like they want a girl that like no one else has touched, but like for their own ego, some girls just like latch onto that and then want to be that to be attractive to men. No, like if you see intimacy as super sacred, like that is so fine, but make sure that you are not keeping your body count at a certain number to satisfy men. I just feel like that's so backwards, and body count is simply a social construct at the end of the day. When it comes to body counts, I have this like gold dust theory, right? So in my opinion, a woman's body is like gold dust. Some women might choose to share the incredible gold dust with everyone. Some women might want to keep their gold dust to themselves. And either one is fine. gosh, like I said, as long as someone isn't a homewrecker or putting their physical or emotional health at risk, I could not care less what you're doing with your body. It's your body. It's so funny as well, the amount of girls that will claim to be feminists, yet would judge another girl for her body count. Like, please. You're putting on your Instagram that you're pro-choice. You know, like, that doesn't just mean abortion rights. That's like actually what you do with your body in general. And just to speak to casual stuff as well, I want to directly reach girls that are both emotional and get attached really easily, but are also very confident in their sexuality and their love for intimacy. Like, God forbid a girl likes to do that, but the combination, it's rough. It can get a bit rough. Casual stuff, everyone has to have a casual phase, but the casual phase has to end. Not even just for the sense of like being with one person or like being in a relationship and like not being wild. Like, no, be young and wild and free. However, eventually casual stuff, like for your own sanity, like it has to, no, that's a whole other conversation. Quick note on safety as well. Always make sure that you are getting tested after each partner. This is super, super important for obvious reasons. Always use protection where possible, and always make sure that your contraception is covered. More to come on contraception a bit later. Periods. I am so excited to talk about this topic. So I'm going to start by telling you my first period story. So I was a little bit of a late bloomer. I started my period right before I turned 14, which looking back is not actually that late compared to some people I know. However, at the time, it felt so late. I just want to give a shout out to any female athletes out there who were young growing up in a sport and looked like a boy until we were about 16. Genuinely, I was in the gym as a gymnast like so often. It was only when I stopped that I started to actually develop. But before that, I just was so fit and healthy and just like pre-pubescent for like forever. I wouldn't change that. I absolutely loved doing sport and I'm so lucky that I was able to do that growing up. But yeah, I did feel super behind. Like my period just didn't arrive for like what felt like forever, especially because some girls in my form, some of my friends had had their period since like year 7. And here we were like halfway through year 9 and I was like, oh, would be nice. It's so funny how much we yearn for womanhood and our period and like becoming a woman. And like in reality, I would want nothing more to go back to being 12 and being a girl. But yeah, so my first period, they say it happens when you least expect it. That is 100% true in my case. I had just got off a flight and I had gone to a friend's house at the time. I wasn't with my mom, I wasn't at home. And I just went to the toilet and I was like, oh my God, like it's happened. Like I can remember the feeling so vividly and just being like, this is it. Like I did actually feel like a changed woman. But at the same time, I felt just like, okay, that was a bit anticlimactic. The funny thing was, awkward little me didn't want to ask any of my friends for something, which is kind of weird because I'm so the opposite now. And I remember that we were going somewhere the next day and I only packed white jeans, apart from my other pair of jeans, which was like desperately in need of a wash. And I was like, I'm sorry, I just cannot wear white jeans. So I just firmed it in my like black Topshop Joni jeans. We went out and then I like made an excuse. I was like, oh, I need to just go get like pads, whatever. Not the fact that that was like my first period. I was just like, oh yeah, I just need to go and get it. Text my mum that I started my period. She was in Waitrose and she cried. I don't blame her. Like I think I'd probably cry when my daughter starts her period, but like it's just so my mum, if you know my mum. And she bought me some stuff. Every single person had that little Lilette's teen pack, the little blue bag with the white hearts. So iconic. I'm not gonna lie, like those pads were absolutely tiny. Like I know that they are made for smaller bodies and girls that maybe start their period quite young and into their teens, but it was the nostalgia. I actually still use Lilette's tampons, fun fact. So I don't know where the bag is, but maybe I can dig it out. But yeah, I've had a period now for like 10 years, which is so fun. I want to speak about the fact that like, why is it an unsaid thing that people that use tampons are cooler than people that use pads? Like, it's not real. Like, I don't believe that. But when I couldn't use a tampon, I felt like such a fucking loser. Like, literally such a loser. I was like, why can't I use a tampon? Like I can only use pads. I didn't feel like the cool girls that could be like, oh, I'm going swimming, like I have a tampon. Like that was just not me. It just didn't work. I could not for the life of me make a tampon work. So I was a pad girly for so long. I know girls, many girls that are still exclusively pad girlies. I ventured into the world of tampons and I've never looked back. I love a tampon. It took me, we're getting real close here. So the reason that I couldn't get tampons in, and the reason you might not be able to get tampons in, is because the shape of your cooch, everyone's is different. So not just the outside bits, like your actual cooch is the actual passageway, right? So for me personally, because of the shape, I can only put in a tampon standing up because I can get the right angle. I use non-applicator. I can now use applicator. Yeah, try standing up. Just try whatever it takes. Some people it's like a leg up situation. But also, if you don't use tampons, like literally just don't use tampons, guys. Like it seriously is just like not even that deep. However, I do now love a tampon moment. Speaking of as well, I use Lillettes because I just feel like the shape works better for me. Pads. I have a mega hack for you guys. Seriously, you need to switch to organic bamboo pads. That sounds like a really like vegan Tory privileged thing to say because they are more expensive and I'm very lucky that I'm able to get them, but it's so worth it. So normal pads are literally just plastic, and we'll hop over to this issue later, but the irritation I would get from like plastic mainstream pads, as great as they were, like there's a couple brands I absolutely loved, I have found that I am so much happier down there when I've been using bamboo pads. So there's a brand called Flow, there's a brand called Natracare or something like that, and it's a much nicer experience, I will say. I just use pads at night or when I'm like not leaving the house, basically. Little tip as well for staying hygienic on your period is to buy those like wet tissue wipes and to have those with you at home and in your bag, because if you are a pad wearer, then you'll know the feeling of like you're really heavy. I'm getting flashbacks, but like you're really heavy and you need to change your pad, but like even just changing the pad, you just feel disgusting. Having those little wet wipes on hand is so helpful for that. So you can freshen up wherever you are. Also carrying hand sanitizer with you, because if you change your tampon in public and you're in some like disgusting public bathroom and maybe there's like no soap or whatever the case may be, it's nice to have hand sanitizer with you so you know that if you're putting in a tampon or you're taking out a tampon and changing it, that you are not getting any gross bacteria involved in the situation. For me, my period in general has been a love-hate situation. Well, would I say love? I'm not sure. I don't think I'd say love. Some people really do believe that periods are like a very spiritual thing, which like I don't disagree. As much as I'm not claiming that I'm like, yes, like getting in the flow, like love it, I do try and take my period as an opportunity to just like be a demon, like release everything from the month, like within me, just like have an exorcism. Like that's what my period is to me, just to be like spiritually free. It's kind of what I need sometimes, dare I say. And here are my tips for period pain. So obviously always seek medical advice, but I personally love not normal ibuprofen, but ibuprofen lysine specifically. Ibuprofen lysine. So what this is it's much faster acting ibuprofen. You can take it more frequently than regular ibuprofen, and it just gets on top of period pain so much better. What I will say is, when you are in the shop, sometimes it'll be marketed as like migraine relief. It's ibuprofen lysine. That's all you need to know. Do not get sucked into someone adding 2 to 3 pounds on something, claiming it's period pain relief because they know women will buy it. All you need to look at is the ingredients and you will be able to find like an off-brand dupe. I have 2 incredible recommendations. Number 1 is the BU period patches. Unbelievable. It's like Tiger Balm energy. Like, you know, when something smells cold, like deep freeze, but it's all natural. If you are somebody who wants to be all natural, not have mainstream medication on your period, those are phenomenal. You basically stick them on and for hours on end, it's like cooling and like gets so deep into your pain somehow. It is so good. I love those. And then the other thing I love is these things called Big Hug, I think, and they are like a hot water bottle on the go. They are thicker than the BU patches, which are super thin, but they are incredible if you are somewhere like you can't have a hot water bottle. You just open them, you stick them on your underwear or your trousers or whatever, and it's so warm. It's so incredible. I absolutely love it. It's so much more mobile than a hot water bottle. I've stuck them on my back before, on my shoulder. Those three things, ibuprofen, lysine, BU patches, big hug patches, are like my go-to for period pain. But that is not official medical advice. So if you have really awful period pain, always consult your medical professional. Okay, moving on to general feminine hygiene. Do you need to wash your cooch? Washing your cooch with water when you are in the shower is absolutely enough. Guys, we have to be putting two and two together to realize that particular brands are aiming at our insecurity that our cooch doesn't smell nice. They are selling feminine washes because it targets your insecurities. If your coochie actually smells bad, you don't need a fragrance wash, you need to go to the doctor. In most cases, fragrance, especially washes, can throw off your pH. If you want to use a wash, I've used them before. It makes you feel clean down there, like cool. But I have been told by multiple healthcare professionals that it is absolutely not a necessary thing to be clean. Your cooch is not going to smell like roses and it's not supposed to, sorry. All you need to be doing is making sure that you're keeping it fresh, washing with water in the shower. And when you're on your period, making sure that you're changing everything within the correct time frames. Equally, if your discharge looks off or looks abnormal to you, then definitely consult somebody. There are people out there in the UK for free that will listen to you and talk to you about discharge, okay? And to be even more candid, you can be a diva and have thrush. First of all, it's come to my attention that people don't realize that thrush is not an STD. Thrush is basically when the microbiome inside your cooch gets thrown off, I believe by the overgrowth of candida, I think. Thrush for so many women is cyclic. It's hormonal. It comes every month. I used to get thrush every month for like years. And I'm not afraid to say it. Let's start up a thrush support group. And to the haters saying, oh, it's a lack of hygiene. No, I actually was told at one point that I was getting thrush because I was overwashing and I was using washes, like fragranced things that I shouldn't have been using. Things that helped my recurring thrush were, I hate to say it, but the pill, because mine was definitely hormonal. Switching over to more natural and organic sort of bamboo pads, tampons, definitely helped. I do feel like it was kind of when I was younger. Like now I'm approaching my mid-20s. I kind of feel like I don't have as many hormonal issues anymore. Whereas between like 17 and like 21, 22, I definitely was really experiencing those dilemmas frequently. So if anyone's listening to this and this is you, love you, sending you support for your thrush. Hot girls take care of their coochies. Hot girls are not scared to talk about the issues with their coochies. Also, in the category kind of feminine hygiene, I just wanted to talk about, is your cooch a normal shape? Every cooch matters. No matter how tucked in or how all out your cooch is, everybody's looks different. I remember when I was younger, I was like, oh my God, like, is my coochie normal? Unfortunately, I actually don't care. I had this incredible, is it PSHE or PHSE teacher in secondary school. If you went to my school, you will know exactly who I'm talking about. She was the most like loving, like accept yourself and your body, everything is normal, everything is great woman ever. And she actually in one lesson was telling us and showing us how different all cooches can be. And it really put my mind at rest. At the end of the day, as long as your health down there is good, you are getting tested regularly, you do your smear tests, you go to the GP with any abnormalities, the way your cooch looks doesn't matter. It is doing its job. Particular expectations that everything a woman has on her body has to be like neat and tidy and cute make us think that our cooches are not normal or good enough. Okay, onto body hair, particularly hair down there. How do we remove it most effectively? When do we remove it? I would first just like to start off by saying that anybody, particularly a man, who judges your bush or lack thereof and your choices surrounding it is a loser and he needs help. When I have a bush, I feel witch powers bestowed upon me, my intuition, my feminine energy. I'm telling you, if things are going wrong in your life, you need a bush. Whether you are bald or you're giving the Amazon rainforest a run for its money, your man, the right man, will not care. If you have a bush, welcome to forest school. It drives me mental when people are like, oh, but it's just like hygiene. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but the entire reason women have hair down there is to protect our sacred cooch. The cooch has an entire self-cleaning system, its own microbiome like situation. It is advantageous for us to have a bush in order to protect outside things coming in. Now, I'm not claiming I don't like a fresh look. I love it, don't get me wrong, because I just feel good. I feel like fresh. I feel iconic, but also sometimes we got to do what we got to do. We got to let it be. These are probably not things I should be saying on the internet about myself. Anyway, I'm going to tell you how to get the best shave of your life down there if removing your bush is what you so desire to do. As in, I get no razor bumps. So let me tell you. Step 1, use a really good body scrub. I'm not talking like those little cutesy ones where it's like mostly a wash, but it's got like little beads. No, you need like a coffee scrub or like a sugar scrub, something that's really going to get in there. You have to exfoliate. It's non-negotiable, okay? Then you're going to use a really nice shaving cream. Do not skip using shaving cream. If you don't have shaving cream, use conditioner, use shampoo, use something. Please, you have to use something. And then make sure that you have a really good razor. I used to use men's razors until, not an ad, Estrid existed. Genuinely, they have the quality of a men's razor. You have to make sure that you are changing your razor heads consistently. If you're changing them often, you will always get a good shave. When it comes to actually the way you're shaving, you should be shaving in the direction of the hair growth. And then if you absolutely need to, go like side to side. Do not go up against the hair. Make sure as well that you are spreading the skin that you're shaving as flat as humanly possible. Whatever position you're pulling in the shower, you got to do what you got to do. And then this is my ultimate life hack. Your post-shave balm, if you will, for your cooch is Sudocreme. Sudocreme is God's gift. You are going to literally slap that on your entire bikini area and your cooch. That and putting it on any bumps that do come up, or putting it on like around your bikini line for a couple days after you shave. Also, like 3 days after you shave, exfoliate again. You will not get razor burn. That is the dream routine to getting a perfect shave. You are welcome. To be real though, waxing is also incredible. It is definitely the best way to remove hair down there. I will say I moved away from my waxing lady. Love her though. I refuse to go to anyone else because I've done that before and it was not a good experience, which is why I started shaving again. Okay, last topic that we are going to cover today is contraception, the methods I have tried, what has worked for me, what really hasn't, and my opinion. Again, please contact a medical provider to assess your best options. This is just my opinion. We'll start with the pill. I was adamant I would never go on the pill, but I have now gone on 2 different pills and I'll give you my opinion. Mini pill did not work for me. It stopped a lot of hormonal issues, but you take it every day and it's supposed to just get rid of your period. I had like 2 periods a month for like a year. One of them was like 19 days long. I don't think that's everyone's experience on the mini pill. The doctor said because I'm quite tall for a girl that it almost seemed like the mini pill wasn't enough to actually like combat my body's natural cycle. So they were fighting against each other, which kind of made sense to me. And then I have tried the combined pill and I have really enjoyed that. I will say I'm someone who has suffered with really, really bad PMSing before, sort of really bad symptoms of depression, like exacerbated during my period or before my period. It has really helped with those emotional issues. I didn't have negative side effects really. What I will say, if you are going to go on the pill, do not go on TikTok and search the name of your pill. Both times I went on the pill, I didn't look up symptoms on social media because you never know how your body is going to react to something. And lo and behold, like I didn't ever experience certain symptoms that people probably said my exact pill had given them. I'm the prime target of the placebo effect. So if I see a symptom somewhere that my hair is going to turn pink, I will see that my hair is turning pink from my pill. So yeah, word of advice, like just don't even bother doing that. If you make the decision to go on the pill, let yourself see naturally how it actually affects your body. Worst comes to worst, if you don't like it, you just stop taking it and your body will naturally come back to its natural state. I have also used the coil. So the coil is, or an IUD, there are two types. There's a hormonal one and there is a copper coil, which is not hormonal. I believe they actually might be like one of the most successful birth control methods. I don't know about you guys, you know, every time you try and get the pill or something, they like have to inform you that the coil is like the best option and like offer it to you. And every time I'm like, absolutely not. Like I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So majority of people's experience with the coil, and this is what I've seen from both the copper coil and the hormonal coil. Your periods eventually get lighter, better, easier to manage. Most people I know have had that experience. However, there is a percentage of us, me included, who had the most repulsive experience on the coil. I do feel like it's a minority of people, but I was one of them. However, I would still not discourage anyone from getting the coil because I know so many people that it works for. For me, my body was just not having it. So first of all, story time on the insertion of my coil. So I don't mean to scare anyone. I am by far the worst experience that I have had. I was literally like 18, decided to get the coil. It was COVID, couldn't have anyone with me. I'm sat there, the nurses are using a new insertion device that they like don't know how to use. If anyone out there knows what it feels like to have a coil inserted, they put in and took out this coil 4 times before they got it in. Guys, it was too much. Like they literally were just going in and out of my literal womb 4 times. And I'm not going to lie, getting the coil in feels like the worst period cramp you've ever had, but only for a short amount of time if they get it in the first time. But unfortunately, that was not the case with me. Eventually, they managed to find like an old insertion packet, tool, whatever, and got it in. There is no pain I have ever felt in my life like the 2 days after I got the coil fitted. I had the most painful periods on the coil. It was so rough. Like I actually would need to like collapse in pain. I have never felt like that. And it was like 5 days before my period, 5 days during my period, and 5 days after my period was just ridiculous levels of pain. So when I got it out like 6 months later, because I was like, I'm sorry, I'm really not willing to see this through. They were like, that is confusing because most people don't react like that to the coil, which is true. So don't let my story put you off. By all means, try it. But yeah, that's just my honest and raw experience. But yeah, I think that's where I'm going to end today's girl talk, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed having this chat and I would happily do a part 2. You can probably tell I'm quite willing to talk about a lot of things. So let me know if you would like to see a part 2. If you liked today's episode, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Follow the Spotify or the Apple podcast if you're over there. You can give us a review if you would like. Follow the Instagram at Stargirl Society Pod. And you can follow my TikTok at Phoebe Goldsmith, which is in the description box. I love you guys so, so much. I hope you have a blessed rest of your day and week, and I'll see you next week in the next episode.